Moira Rose is a TV icon. She's also mentally ill. Moira Rose, just like the late great Catherine O'Hara who played her, is fabulous. She is a wife, mother, and ex-soap opera star. Moira caught our attention in the pilot of Schitt's Creek with her extravagant outfits, her completely inexplicable accent, her delightfully expansive vocabulary, and her insistence on melodrama. But she kept our attention by ruthlessly and unapologetically owning, if you will, her mental illness.
Lady standing!
Mental illness in media is going to be a series on this channel, and I knew I had to dedicate the first video to Moira because even though she's so emotionally complex, it's not usually talked about beyond the superficial, which is shocking considering how iconic she's become. If you want to see more videos about characters I deem mentally ill, then like and subscribe so YouTube shows them to you. What is mental illness? The World Health Organization claims that a mental disorder is characterized by a clinically significant disturbance in an individual's cognition, emotional regulation, or behavior. The World Health Organization estimated that in 2021, nearly 1 in every 7 people, 1.1 billion around the world, were living with a mental disorder. Schitt's Creek is a Canadian show, so we'll take a quick look at what the Canadian Mental Health Association has to say. The CMHA defines mental illnesses as changes in what someone thinks, says, feels, and/or does during significant distress and can make day-to-day functions difficult. They write that mental illnesses include mood disorders such as major depressive and bipolar disorder, anxiety disorders, schizophrenia and other psychotic disorders, personality disorders, eating disorders, and substance use disorders. It is reported that in any given year, 1 in 5 people in Canada are living with a mental illness. As these statistics confirm, mental illness affects so many, not just in Canada, but worldwide. This is why it's so important to have varied, nuanced representations of it in the media. Moira is a successful example of this. The Schitt's Creek wiki page claims that Moira meets the criteria for histrionic personality disorder, as she needs to be the center of attention, has rapidly shifting, shallow emotion, she's provocative, focused on physical appearance, has impressionistic speech, and self-dramatizes. I'm not a mental health professional, so we won't be diagnosing Moira. I don't think diagnosis is all that important when it comes to fictional characters, so in this series, when it comes to the fictional characters we discuss, we'll be focusing on their symptoms. Moira is a beloved character who displays undeniable symptoms of mental illness. A lot of times, in the media, characteristics of mental illness can seem quirky, funny, or endearing, and this is how many viewers see Moira. These adjectives are not so readily applied to real people dealing with mental illness. It's usually more charming on screen than it is in real life. This is the exact reason why I think the complexity of Moira is overlooked. She's dismissed as dramatic or delusional or just kind of kooky. Not enough people appreciate just how nuanced and tragic and comfortingly realistic this on-screen depiction of mental illness is. I'll address the WIGS right off the bat.
Are those wigs real hair? I just want to reach out and
Please
touch
don't. No, Maureen does not like to be manhandled.
Sorry.
Throughout the 6-season series, Moira is seen wearing countless wigs, sometimes more than one in a day. In each and every on-screen appearance, Moira is a sight to behold. She dresses in outrageous designer pieces that always look completely out of place in her surroundings in Schitt's Creek. The look doesn't stop with the clothing. Moira is never seen without a wig. Just like her fashion-forward, designer-filled wardrobe, Moira's wigs are a form of self-expression. When her mood changes, so do the outfit and the wig. Moira has a wall of wigs displayed in her motel room, and she chooses a different wig to wear each day depending on her mood. But with Moira, the wigs go much deeper than just self-expression. Moira demonstrates an intense form of object attachment to these wigs. Keep in mind, in episode 1, Moira lost almost all of her possessions. So from the very moment we meet her, she is coping with this sudden shock, this sudden trauma. Moira's entire life changed in an instant. She went from living like I can't imagine people actually living to living in a motel in a town in the middle of nowhere with a connecting door between her and her 2 adult children. From the beginning of the series, the wigs are used to show Moira's emotional struggles with her situation. In the very first scene of the show, Revenue is raiding the Rose family mansion and seizing all their assets. Moira's very first line in the series is a blood-curdling scream. We hear the same scream several more times before the 20-minute pilot episode is over. Within the first few minutes of the show, we meet Moira's wigs.
To collect our personals, can we pick up the pace?
No, did you put Christy with Robin? They don't like each other. No.
As we just saw, Moira doesn't just love her wigs. She names them, she assigns them personalities and social dynamics, she anthropomorphizes them. In his book, Humanish, Justin Gregg writes, anthropomorphism is the human propensity to treat a non-human entity in a way you'd normally treat another human, even though you know it is not a human. Moira never stops doing this. Her love for the wigs is a constant. It's a coping mechanism for Moira. Gregg writes that living in a world that seems more predictable, more human in that it's loaded with objects that have pseudo-intentions, appears to make us happier and less anxious, even if we know deep down that we're just pretending. Moira does this with several objects, not just her wigs.
Seriously? Go to hell! You're a fool!
Okay, Moira, why we...
This could be interpreted as a coping mechanism, a comfort as she tries to assert control over a life she's lost complete control of. Costuming is used with Moira to provide insight into how she's feeling and coping, and her anxiety regarding the care and condition of her wigs shows us how she is scrambling to regain some morsel of control. It's never explicitly stated, but Moira has a substance abuse problem.
I brought vodka as a house gift. I don't see it.
Throughout the show, there are references to her propensity for alcohol and pills. It's usually depicted in a fairly light manner, which is in keeping with the tone of the show. While Schitt's Creek doesn't shy away from exploring heavier issues, it doesn't delve deeply into topics like addiction or mental illness. These topics are instead an underlying presence, a part of Moira's character, but not necessarily her storylines, just like in real life. This works for the show, and I don't think it trivializes anything that it portrays. All of the characters around Moira know that she has a substance issue.
Moira, remember Sunrise Bay? You were drunk most of season 3 and half of season 4, end of season 5.
But interestingly enough, Moira herself seems unaware that she has a problem with substances.
Did I used to have a drinking problem?
I really like this. I think this is a fairly realistic portrayal of someone with a dependency on substances. It's not uncommon for people who use alcohol or drugs as a coping mechanism to remain unaware that they have a problem. I also think it's worth noting that the people closest to Moira, her husband Johnny and adult children Alexis and David, seem to enable or at least refrain from intervening in relation to Moira's substance use, mostly because it is more convenient.
Have you seen your mother today?
Yeah, she was face down on the carpet before dragging herself into the closet.
And you didn't say anything?
I thought she was maybe looking for a contact or something.
Yeah.
This is also nice, I think. It's usually much easier to let someone's problem go unchecked and unchallenged, especially when it serves as a band-aid for underlying emotional issues.
Because you gobbled down 100,000 antidepressants this morning.
I was hungry.
Though it doesn't have to be, excessive attention-seeking behavior can also be a symptom of various mental illnesses. One thing that is obvious from the moment we meet Moira is that she loves to be the center of attention. We see this in every single thing she does. When When she joins the community choir, the Jazzagals, she relishes the spotlight and snatches every opportunity for a solo.
Islands in the stream, that is what we are. K-H-E-O-K. No one in between.
When she decides to run for town council, it's not because she really wants to, but because she can't bear to see Jocelyn get all the attention.
I have decided to throw my hat in the ring and run for council.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Not interested in politics.
Although I can see why someone might think that. I certainly know how to command a crowd, and I've never been one to shy away from a good fight.
I don't love how loosely the word narcissism is thrown around, but I do think it's appropriate when applied to Moira. Moira is the center of Moira's world, as we clearly see in her interactions with other characters. She's often interrupting other characters or getting their names wrong, not out of intentional impoliteness, but because she is living in her own world. There's one episode where Moira is frantically searching for nude pictures of herself from her youth. She's filled with regret when she realizes there are none available on the internet.
Can no one find nude photos of me on the internet?
When Johnny shows her an old Polaroid he kept of her at the end of the episode, her first instinct is to upload it to the internet. It isn't enough for Moira to appreciate the photograph herself. What she really needs is for other people to see her, to give her attention and validation. Throughout the 6 seasons, Moira does at times resist her urge for attention for the benefit of those she loves. But she does it in a way that still satisfies her needs. For example, Moira passes up the chance to perform at a choir competition that is happening on the same night as Alexis's high school graduation. But she doesn't just sit in the audience at the graduation. She performs on stage with the Jazzagals. Moira finds ways to live with her symptoms while still maintaining the relationships around her, which is a really exciting thing to see in the media. Having a character who displays symptoms of mental illness without being completely controlled by her symptoms is important for viewers. Moira is a wife and a mother to her 2 adult children, and it's clear throughout the series that Moira loves her family. Even though we can obviously see that Moira loves her husband and her kids,
I'm worried about our children. Are we terrible parents?
she's consistently and unapologetically prioritizing herself, focusing on her own needs and desires, often remaining unaware of the problems Johnny, David, and Alexis are facing.
We have no interest in what's going on with you.
We have no idea what's, because she means no idea.
Moira demands attention, time, and help from those around her while remaining largely unwilling to give it in return. This is especially clear in Moira's relationship with her daughter Alexis. This is a strained relationship that we see improve very slowly over the course of the show.
Alexis seems to think you like me more.
Alexis, don't be ridiculous. It's exactly the kind of paranoia that makes me wary of spending time with you.
We learn that Alexis didn't receive the attention she needed from her mother while she was growing up. We also learn that Moira had been completely unaware that Alexis didn't enjoy being around her fame growing up. This is unsurprising considering Moira's personality. In season 2, Moira and Alexis have a lunch date together. And before lunch, Moira spends the entire episode riddled with anxiety over whether she and Alexis will have anything to say to each other. I think Moira's insecurity and eventual honesty in confiding in Alexis about her feelings is really charming. We feel the distance between them, and I think this exchange shows that even though living with mental illness can result in strained relationships, it's always possible to be honest and attempt to repair things. I love the way Schitt's Creek explores how mental illness can affect those around us, especially in motherhood. I don't think it's explored enough in the media. And don't get me wrong, it's explored a lot. But oftentimes we see the mentally ill mother as a villain or as helpless. Here, she is human, undeniably human. Moira is loved, she is flawed, she is iconic, and she is all of these things without being absolved of the psychological pain and damage she has caused to others. Alexis's mommy issues are honored, not diminished. And through effort and communication, we see their relationship begin to mend. the two women begin to understand each other. Moira has a much closer relationship with her son David. There is a reason for this. David is a people pleaser. Because of this, Moira is consistently able to get what she wants from David, and she often goes to him for help or for company, relying heavily on him, inverting the typical roles of parent and child. This is true of her entire immediate family. We learn that Johnny, Alexis, and David are all experienced in taking care of Moira during her mental breakdowns or episodes.
She's having one of her things.
How bad is it?
How bad is it? Solid 7.
It's not an 8, which seems manageable for you.
Well, except I've got a few things I have to take care of, so I need you two to go in and take...
I did Central Pay, so...
And I did her birthday and Aspen twice.
Moira is not maternal, though she loves her kids. She doesn't know their middle names, knows hardly anything about their lives, and asks for their help more often than she offers her own. It's up for debate, and everyone is entitled to their own opinion, but I think we see that Moira is the best mother she can be while dealing with her symptoms. Again, this representation is so important. Viewers get to know and love a character who is an imperfect mother who raised her kids while coping with symptoms of mental illness. Her shortcomings and successes are addressed without condemning or praising her, allowing the space for a neutral portrayal of mental health struggles. Over the course of Schitt's Creek's 6 seasons, we watch as Moira spirals, improves, and then spirals again. She makes progress and then unfailingly falls back into self-interest. A lot of viewers hate this. I love it. The haters claim that Moira didn't get a character arc, but Moira did have a character arc, and it was a fantastic one. However, she never stops exhibiting symptoms of mental illness. Moira shows personal growth from the pilot to the finale. This growth just doesn't involve the erasure of her symptoms. Did viewers want her character arc to be that she was cured? For Moira to suddenly be emotionally balanced and considerate? Did they want a completely stable woman with no unhealthy attachment to her WIGS? In other words, do viewers want the arc for mentally ill characters to be that they're cured of their mental illness? In my opinion, the portrayal of mental illness in a neutral manner is crucial for representation. It's dangerous to idolize or villainize mental illnesses or the people who have them. The media we consume influences our perceptions, whether we're conscious of it or not, which is why it is so important that we see representation on screen of people living with mental illness, any mental illness, without being completely destroyed or totally cured. Give this video a like and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos analyzing the depiction or treatment of mental illness in the media. I wanted to start with Moira, but we'll be looking at characters from movies and TV. If there's any video topics in particular that you want to see, I'd love to hear your suggestions in the comments below. This is a new channel, so my videos will keep improving, and your feedback will help me lots. Let me know what you think. I'd love to get a discussion going in the comments. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you'll come back for the next one.